Hi everybody, how are you well? I'm so excited for today's video, not just because I am with the amazing Olga, thank you very much for doing this for me Olga, but because in this video I am using for the very first time a camera that I have wanted since the day it was announced. The Sony A9III. This camera is going to revolutionize the photography industry for many, many reasons, and I can't wait to use it. So before I take you behind the scenes on this shoot with me, I'm going to pass you over to me to talk about the reasons that this camera is going to change the game.
So before we get into this video and we see what happens when you use off-camera flash at 1/80,000th of a second, still seems hard to say that, let's talk about the specs of this camera and why I think it is such a massive step forward for photography. Now, the first thing to say is that I'm a wedding photographer and I will be talking about this camera in relation to wedding photography. But this is not a wedding photography camera. This is a camera that is far more suited to sports or wildlife. For example, the A9III is capable of shooting 120 frames a second in RAW. That is truly insane, and it's great for sports photographers, but unless you're photographing Usain Bolt's wedding, you're not going to need anything like that, ever. It also offers pre-capture, which is where you half press the shutter. The camera is actually taking images when you do that and storing them in the buffer, but then deleting them straight away. And when you press the shutter, you will save the previous images that were already in the camera's buffer. It's crazy. That again is something that's going to be very, very useful to you if you're a sports or a wildlife photographer, but unless you're waiting for the first kiss, I can't think of any reason why that would be useful for wedding photographers. The A9III, like the A9 and the A9II, also only offers 24 megapixels, which I must admit I don't mind, but I would like a few more. 36 for me would be the sweet spot. But let's talk about the three huge features of this camera which are incredibly useful for wedding photographers. Now, all that good stuff is because of the new global shutter, which completely changes the game. One of the biggest advantages of the global shutter is that you will never see any banding or flicker from LED lights when you're shooting with the Sony A9III. This is massive because even the stack sensor of the A9 and the A9II did struggle with banding in certain situations. The global shutter is also completely silent, meaning that you will never hear a noise from your camera shutter at all, ever. Not even when you're taking off-camera flash photographs. And to me, especially, that is huge. If you love to capture documentary images where you want to try and be as unobtrusive as possible, being completely silent the whole day is really, really useful. And lastly, the biggest reason of all why I am so excited by this camera, the fact that thanks to the global shutter, we can now use off-camera flash at any shutter speed without the need for high-speed sync. Now, if like me, you love using off-camera flash, this is truly game-changing. As you'll see in this video, you can now use off-camera flash at 1/80,000th of a second without high-speed sync. The A9III's global shutter is also so fast that you even need to adjust the flash timing on the camera to make sure that the exposure happens when the single flash is at its brightest. It's that quick. High-speed sync is great, but you do lose a lot of flash power when you use it, which means that you either have to compensate by shooting slowly so you don't frazzle your speed lights, or you need to use larger strobes for more power, which is often a bit cumbersome and not really ideal, especially for wedding photography. But as we don't need high-speed sync with the Sony A9III, speed lights and strobes like the Godox AD200 become easily powerful enough for almost any situation, as you will see in this video. Now, it's fair to say that these advancements probably do come at a cost, and that could be dynamic range and ISO performance. I don't know that yet, but I do have a video coming out soon, which isn't edited as yet, where I do compare the A9III against the A2 at various ISOs. So please keep your eye out for that one. It will be very interesting to see how it compares. For now though, let's see what it's like to shoot off-camera flash with the Sony A9III at crazy fast shutter speeds.
Just want to say as well, a massive thank you to my friend Phil Eagland, who has kindly lent me his Sony A9III. Sadly, this is not mine, it's just on loan. If this goes well, then I may end up buying one. So that'll be the proof as to whether I like it or not, whether I actually buy one or not. So as I say, I'm going to use this for the first time now with off-camera flash. I'm going to push the limits of the A9III and shoot off-camera flash at crazy fast shutter speeds that previously weren't available to us. So in terms of my setup, obviously I'm on the Sony A9III. I'm starting off this shoot on the Sony 50mm f1.2 G Master lens, and over here, because it's really windy, I do want to use the mag box, but unfortunately because it was so windy, it was blowing around quite a lot because this is a bit weak. So instead I've just got an AD200 with a mag sphere. First of all, I'm going to take a base shot without any off-camera flash at all. What I want to do here is kill the ambient. So I'm going to go instantly really fast with my shutter speed. I'm going to go to 6400 f4 at ISO 250. Now the base ISO of the A9III is 250, so we can't, well, we could go lower than that, but Sony don't want us to go lower than that, so I'm not going to. The other thing which I've realized today, say I've only had this camera for a couple of hours, is that in order to use crazy fast shutter speeds, or certainly shutter speeds faster than 16,000, we have to be in single shot on the camera. So I am in single shot, just to let you know. Also, if you want to shoot at the crazy shutter speeds of things like 1/80,000th of a second, it's even hard to say that, it seems so ridiculous, you can't shoot wider than 1.8 with your aperture. So I'm going to shoot at f4. Let's just see what this gives us. So 6400 on my shutter speed, f4, 250 ISO. Now that gives me something really nice. You can see what the actual reality of this situation is like in terms of the light. So we're killing the ambient really nicely. What I do want to do though is get rid of the sun from this exposure. I'm going to move you around slightly, Olga, so you'll be about there if that's okay. Yeah, that's enough. Let's take the same shot. I'm going to go back a bit further. There we go. As you can see, the photograph now is virtually underexposed completely. So let's turn on the speed light. Remember, it's a Godox AD200 over there, and we've only got a mag sphere, and that is at the moment on 1/16th power. So I'm not going to change anything else, just a quick test. Amazing, it's already affecting the exposure, and it's only on 1/16th. So if you're okay, Olga, I'll ask you to take your coat off. Now notice here, I'm shooting low and shooting through all this tall grass, just to add a bit of foreground interest. Let's even turn the flash power up even more to a half power. Gorgeous, just looking towards that light, that's beautiful. Olga is incredible. I've worked with Olga once before, I'll link to that video up here. I remember thinking when we shot that day, whoa, I want to work with Olga again. Gorgeous. Amazing, Olga. Let's even change our settings. I'm now going to go to f1.8, and I'm going to go even faster with my shutter speed to 80,000ths of a second. Amazing. Already I know I'm in trouble because I'm going to want this camera. As I said earlier, this is not mine. It is on loan from my friend Phil. Thank you, Phil. His Instagram is on the screen now. Please go and give him a follow as a thank you. Beautiful, Olga. So good. And what I just really want to impress on you again is the conditions that we're shooting in right now. It is so bright, the sky, but the photographs that we're getting are completely different because we're able now to shoot at these crazy fast shutter speeds. So what I'm now going to do is try the same photographs on the A9 II. Now bear in mind that for us to shoot at 8,000ths of a second, which is what I've just taken these shots on with the A9 III, I'm going to have to be in high-speed sync. That is going to drain a lot of flash power. So whether we can get similar shots, I don't think we can, but we'll try.
Just to remind you, all the photographs that you see in my videos were edited using my Lightroom preset pack, which you can download from my website. The pack includes my presets, brushes, magic masks, and a 100-minute editing tutorial video in which I show you exactly how I edit my photographs.
Let's go back down here. It's obvious where I've been shooting from. So the equivalent settings are at 1/8,000th of a second, which is the fastest I can shoot on the A9II. I'm in mechanical shutter, f6.3 again, which is the same aperture I've just been shooting at, and ISO is 250. These are the exact same settings. Flash power is 1/8. And as I predicted, the difference is huge. You can see that the speed light is going off, it's in the frame, but it's not affecting Olga. That is because high-speed sync drains the flash power due to the way that high-speed sync works. So this is the reason that the A9III is going to change the photography industry, I believe. Certainly, if you like off-camera flash, and I obviously do. Now let me see if I can get closer by turning the speed light up to full power. 3, 2, 1. We're getting there, but it's still nowhere near the same. You can see here how the technology is advancing so well in the A9III. So what I'll now do is go back to the A9III, because that's the whole reason for this shoot, and shoot at a wider lens. I think I'm going to put my Sony 16 to 35mm f2.8 on, and we'll try and fill the frame with this sky. I think it'll look really cool. This will be nice. So I'm really, really wide with my focal length, 16mm, trying to get rid of the sun from the composition, because to me it's just distracting. I'm actually going to go slower with my shutter speed just to let a bit more ambient in. So let's now go to 16,000, which is still crazy fast. That's good. Now once I've got my settings dialed in, it's really just Olga doing the work. Beautiful. Yeah, these are absolutely amazing. I'm now going to go down even more with my flashback. We're only on 1/16th power now. Oh, 3, 2, 1. Nice. These are beautiful. Again, I want to give a big shout out to Olga. I'm loving these shots, partly because the camera is amazing, but obviously Olga is absolutely bringing it. Really nice. Beautiful, Olga. Thank you very much. Now, just before we finish, I'll try one other lens. Going to go to my 85mm now, and we'll try again with the mag box. We'll get that light source closer, use the mag box to create better light, softer light, rather than just using the mag sphere. Okay, so I'm now on my Sony 85mm f1.8 lens, and this time we're using the mag box. I should apologize, I dropped the mag box quite viciously not long ago, which is why this has come loose and broke, but it doesn't actually affect the images at all, or not too much anyway. Actually, just to turn this way, please, Olga, if that's okay. Just looking back towards that light. Going to move this even closer to Olga to get the best quality. And notice the sun behind Olga and what we're getting. It's completely different. Really good, Olga. Perfect, yeah. Smooth that there. Beautiful. Let's go portrait again. That's cool. Again, these are amazing. I keep on needing to stress, just look at what the conditions are like and look at the end results. Thank you so much, Olga. You've been amazing. Please go and give Olga a follow. So here are my favorite photographs from this shoot. I must admit, I absolutely love what we can now do with the A9III. As I said at the beginning of the video, I thought it would open up a whole world of possibilities, and it really has. So unfortunately, I think my bank balance is going to take a bit of a hit. Huge thank you again to Phil Eagland, who has very kindly lent me this A9III. So it's not mine. Phil very kindly lent this to me. So thank you so much, Phil. I really appreciate it. And again, thank you to Olga. As always, if you have any questions about anything I've done in this video, please let me know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Okay, we'll try that. It was going to happen.